Minneapolis, Minnesota, February 27, 2025. The Irish Star wrote that Tim Walz was caught on tape at a town hall meeting labeling the Trump administration as fascists and Nazis. Walz, governor of Minnesota and Democratic candidate for vice president in the last election, has been relatively quiet since his defeat. However, he was known to take a jab at Trump on social media, writing, "Elon Musk is a terrible president." Now for a little commentary, a lot of commentary. Tim Walz has always been center-left in his thinking and certainly has the chops to be able to recognize fascists and Nazis when he sees them in action. He believes capitalism works, but there are things society needs to do collectively, like Social Security and Medicare. He stated one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. That is not something we should admonish him for, as the right did during the election. Being a good Christian, as Walz is, he is right. I am not certain when America became so defensive about socialist ideas. By modern standards, Jesus was a socialist in that he cared for the people and put them first. Jesus was apolitical. In today's language, he was not a Democrat or Republican. He may not have been a socialist nor a capitalist. He was kingdom-minded first, but he abhorred wealth and stated that a rich man would have a hard time getting into heaven. He believed strongly in taking care of the poor and needy and fed the 5,000. The first church was actually communist in reality. As Acts 2 states, all believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. For example, when the early church members Ananias and Sapphira lied about giving all their wealth, they died in front of an admonishing Peter in Acts 5. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a socialist who used the government to get our company out of a depression and offered us Social Security for our old age. Lyndon Johnson was a socialist who brought us better health in our old age through Medicare. You don't see Republicans giving up their Social Security and Medicare when they get old just because it's socialism. We are a socialist nation. If we accepted that idea, no one would be turned away from needed medical procedure just because their insurance company refuses to pay for it. If we as a nation embraced our socialism, everyone would receive medical care like 44 other industrialized nations around the world. But our congressmen, especially Republicans, are bought and paid for by money from hospital chains, pharmaceutical companies, HMOs, and other corporate medical entities who would steal most of our medical dollar by being between it and real care and by overcharging for almost everything. When I was in China, I went to the emergency room of a hospital twice seeking minor medical care, as my military retirement did not cover medical care where I was located. I was seen by a doctor, not a nurse or a practitioner, within 15 minutes. Unless you are dying or bleeding to death, try doing that in less than 3 or 4 hours in America. A doctor in China sees you at your appointment time, not 30 minutes or an hour after you were sitting in the waiting room. Why? Because they do not overload patients for maximum profit, and they hire enough doctors to take care of everyone, not try to save money. When I was in Germany, I had a British friend who broke an arm. He said he went to the German doctor and paid nothing. Why? Because Great Britain is a socialized medicine, and they would be billed for his care. Another friend had to come up with funds before he was allowed to leave the hospital due to a skiing incident because he was an American. Shame on us. It is Christian to take care of the sick. Since when did we think it wrong to have medical care for the poor or the old or the disadvantaged? A lot of money is spent so that right-wing media can keep you convinced of long waiting lines and that inefficiency is norm in socialized medicine when nothing could be farther from the truth. You are being conned, and you have taken the bait hook, line, and sinker. They play you for a fool, and you let them. I've become more and more impressed with Tim Walz since he was named as Kamala Harris's vice president running mate. Now, I'm even more impressed. He calls a Nazi, and a fascist. And at this point in time, I cannot see anyone who better impresses me as the best presidential candidate for either party in 2028. We need a Christian in the White House again, not a pretender. Nazis? What the current administration is doing to get rid of equal opportunity guardrails in government and firing minorities and women from top leadership positions just to replace them with white men defines their actions as just what they are. Their attempts to get rid of charitable institutions such as USAID and Medicaid suggest they have not a Christian bone in their body. Taking power where the Constitution and Congress does not allow is simply being, quote, dictator from day one, unquote, Trump's own promise. I was asked about the bandage on my forehead in my last broadcast, and it's not anything serious. I just had a recent skin cancer surgery, and it'll take some time to heal. But thanks for your prayers. This is Larry McDowell from Christian Press and Bible College Radio.